For the first time in 3 months, the UFC is heading to the apex, but instead of low-level fights slapped together to check a box, we have some high-level matchups that matter for their divisions. My name is Angelo, this is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 110 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. And while that fight card is in the apex, the next one is in the apex, but the two after that are not. UFC 322 is around the corner, and that is arguably the best event this year. We have an unbelievable main event, a great super fight co-main event, and a bunch of really big fights scattered throughout. What the UFC is doing at the tail end of this year is spectacular, because right after UFC 322, they head over to Qatar for a matchup that could determine the next title challenger at 155. If you want to unlock every pick, every bet, every tool for these 4 fight cards, UFC Vegas 110, UFC Vegas 111, UFC 322, and UFC Qatar, you can do so now. It is only $10. $10 measly dollars. $10 less than a McDonald's value meal. You can unlock everything we offer for an entire month, which gets you these 4 fight cards. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member at the top. It's $10. You cheap. Now, we appreciate you being here. If you do want to unlock all the stuff, it's on the website, WeWantPicks.com. And we're going to open my breakdown with Donte Johnson taking on SD Dumas. This is a short notice slap together. Donte Johnson was rumored to be on this card, but nothing officially announced. SD Dumas popped up out of the woodwork. He sewed his testicles back together, and here he is ready to go. But Donte Johnson is actually the short notice merchant. This guy's got solid striking. He does a good job jumping in and out of the pocket to land. He avoids what comes back his way. He also does a great job throwing in volume. When he engages, he puts up numbers. He can overwhelm people. He's a little bit twitchy, so just constantly but he is confident and he can find some finishes. He's got okay power, and I'm assuming at middleweight, which is where this fight is, he will have even more. He's fast, he's athletic, he's very early in his career, but he's evolving at a quick pace. He's coming off the Contender Series win, where a big boy punched his ticket to the big show. He's taking on SD Dumas. This guy's a disaster. SD Dumas' personal life is a disaster. He has a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt. I've used that joke before, and I'm going to use it again, because if you've been to a CVS, you know that is top tier. He is fighting on this card, though. They threw him on here. How he still has a job is well beyond my comprehension, but he does have a job, and he'll be fighting Donte Johnson. Style-wise, SD Dumas has okay takedowns, okay kickboxing. He's got some decent techniques. He swore to us all he was locking in and he's a new man. And then he went out there in his last fight and his testicles exploded into 1,000 pieces with the first strike thrown. SD Dumas is actually pretty tough. Listen, it wasn't my nuts that got kicked, so I don't know what that was like. I was there in person at Noche UFC when it happened. Seemed a little dramatic to me, but it is what it is. Hopefully we're done with the experiment that is SD Dumas. A little over a month ago, Donte Johnson stepped up on short notice to fight on the Contender Series at heavyweight. But Donte is actually a light heavyweight. So this introduces a whole new world of nuance and complication, but the reality is there's nothing complicated about the fight. SD Dumas sucks. Donte Johnson doesn't seem to suck. He's only 6 fights into his career. I can't believe he still has a job, but the reality is I think Donte Johnson moves forward, lands clean a few times, and just breaks SD, and we could be done. Let me remind you that his last arrest, he was found hiding in a dog cage. That's your boy. Then we have Charlie Radtke taking on Daniel Frunza. This is a new-ish fight to the card, and it should be a banger. Charlie Radtke, athletic grappler. He lowers his level, he takes shots, he immediately works for positions. He's also a powerful striker. He's always down to throw. He's very controlled on the ground. He's also dangerous, and he does hunt for submissions in transitions, and he jumps well between those two. He tends to slow as fights go on, but he can be hittable, which isn't always a great combination. There's power in his hands. He is tough. He is gritty. He did just get finished by Mike Malott. He's taking on Daniel Frunza. Daniel Frunza is a solid striker. He's got good pressure, nice leg kicks. He bombs away on the feet. He continues marching forward no matter what comes back his way. He keeps his power late. He doesn't give up regardless of how fights are going. And if you don't want to get into a firefight with him, you can take him down. The takedown defense is not spectacular. He is coming off that KO loss to Reese McKee, where he was dropped 3 times before finally being put away. This is another just fun scrap. This card is loaded with fun fights. Both of these guys are down to get after it. I would not be surprised with a standing firefight or grappling because both of them were knocked out in their last fight, so they might come in here a little more cautious than usual, shooting takedowns. And for that reason, the pick has to be Charlie Radtke. While I do think Frunza has the better chin, a little more durable on the feet, I think Charlie is technically sound, he's tough as shit, and he is the better grappler. There is a big gap in the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. I think Charlie can exploit that gap. I actually don't mind these minus 140 odds either. So Charlie's going to be the pick here, and we'll see what ends up happening come fight night, what these odds look like. But I think Charlie has the cleaner path to victory, and therefore, I thus conclude Charlie is the pick. That's how some of the other cappers sound. Nerds. Then we have Talita Alencar taking on Ariane Carnelossi. Talita Alencar, huge favorite here. And I get it. She's got some solid fight skills. She's an accomplished grappler who comes out guns blazing. She chases takedowns. She looks to get it to the ground almost immediately. Once she's on the ground, she's busy. Her striking is there. She maintains positions, and then she looks for submissions. And even though she is a very accomplished grappler, she's mostly looking for control. She's not just hunting, trying to find finishes. She softens you up. She keeps you where you are, and if there's an opening, she'll take it. Her takedowns are not great. She does rely on strength to get fights to the ground. Her striking is not great either, so if she can't get a takedown, there is a bit of a disadvantage there. She has taken on Ariane Carnelossi. She's very aggressive, very strong. She is willing to be in a firefight. Her takedown defense is pretty bad herself. And the offensive takedowns are not great, but she's so freaking strong and so freaking gritty that she can get takedowns if she needs to. She's coming off that DQ win over Pereira Rodriguez, where she was taken down and absolutely railed in the face with an intentional headbutt. One of the more savage things I've seen in a female fight. She was like, "Fuck you, bitch." Boom. Blasted her in the face with her forehead. And the easy math here. Let's just do some math. Guys, I did the nerd voice before. Let's use our nerd skills to do some easy, breezy math. Here's the math for you. Talita can get takedowns. Ariane sucks at defending takedowns. Bang. 1 + 1 = 2. On the ground, Talita will be miles ahead. My one and only concern with this is how insanely wide this line is. Ariane is built like Steve Latimer from the program. And if you don't get that reference, Google it. That was rock solid. I've got 2 rock solid references into this already. I'm only on the 3rd fight. I'm cooking. This is why we film these early. The brain is sharp. Talita's takedowns are not very good. She relies on strength, and she is taking on an American gladiator. So she's not just going to be able to bully this to the ground. But if she gets it to the ground, she is miles ahead. So I'm going to pick Talita. With the least amount of confidence, I have picked a 300 favorite before in my life. You should not be throwing Talita in all your parlays. You should not be running wild. This is women's MMA. One of them is built like a brick shit house, and the other one is like kind of pretty and delicate. I'm going to go with the pretty delicate one because she's the better actual fighter. But sometimes just being a brute force Subaru driver is all you need to get a win. So be very careful here. Subaru could win this fight. We're going to leave it alone. Also, another spectacular. I'm cooking right now. Cooking. Half of you probably don't even get it, and I'm very disappointed in you. Then we have Billy Elekana taking on Kevin Christian. This is a fun fight as well. This card is loaded with just fun fights. The main event matters. A couple of the other fights matter for the division. We have a lady fight that matters very, very much. But a lot of these are just fun back and forth bangers. Jacob will actually be there in real life. So when you're watching this card, listen for somebody yelling, "Hot dogs." We got Billy Elekana. Billy Elekana is a patient guy. He's a heavy-handed striker. He's long. He uses length pretty well to keep range. He mostly backs up and looks to counter, but he does have a nice step-in jab. So if you're following him, he will plant, step in, give you a nice stifferino to the chin. He's got plenty of feints, good twitches as well, solid takedown defense. Most Elekana fights are kind of slow-paced on the feet for the first round or so. Then he kind of settles in, picks up the pace. He is coming off that underdog win over Ibo Aslan, where he was tentative, but he fought well backing up. He's taking on Kevin Christian. This guy is massive. Billy's used to being the taller guy. That's not going to happen here because Kevin Christian is 6'7". And even though he is tall, though, his range management isn't great. He will fire knees up the middle, but outside of that, he's swinging wild, he's swinging wide, and it leaves himself open for takedowns. If he is taken down, he is comfortable. He has no problem throwing up submissions. While he doesn't use his range well standing, he does use the length really well on the ground. He's coming off that submission win on the Contender Series, which earned him the call-up. I don't want you to let the stats fool you. Kevin is tremendous, 6'7", enormous human being, but he does almost nothing with that size. He can't box you up from the outside. He doesn't have good enough takedowns to get you to fight where he needs it because he's more of a jiu-jitsu nerd than he is a striker. And Billy's not great, but he is technically sound. He is durable. He's got solid fight IQ. I think this ends up being a pretty typical Billy Elekana fight where he starts slow. He's going to dot Christian up a little bit, sneak out a decision win. Elekana's going to be the pick. I'm hoping this line shrinks, minus 220. God, kind of hoping to save $1 or $2 off of that. And then you have Timmy Cuamba taking on Chang Ho Lee. No odds for this fight yet. This is a newer fight, and I'm kind of glad we don't have odds. I had to break down a lot of these fights with no odds whatsoever, and I typically will break down a fight not looking at the odds. Then I will go look at the odds, and I won't go back and change my pick because of it, but it may influence my confidence in that pick. And that's just a human nature. If I look at a fight and I say, well, this guy's going to win, then I look and I'm like, he's a 2-1 dog. What the hell am I missing? What do I not know about this fight? What's the problem that I am unaware of that he's a 2-1 dog? And that may influence how I talk about that fight. But the reality is I have no odds whatsoever for this, so this is the cleanest breakdown you're going to get. We have Timmy Cuamba. This guy's a striker, good takedown defense, fast hands, decent power for his weight class. He does a great job working the body with early investment and hoping for a late payoff. He's very technical. He is not gun shy, but I would not categorize him as a killer. He's got some takedowns, but they don't feel very comfortable, and he's really only looking to wrestle if he's in trouble. He is tough as nails. He will grind. He is coming off that KO win over Roberto Romero, where he actually did wrestle a little bit earlier than usual, and we saw the speed in his hands. He's taking on Chang Ho Lee. This guy's a well-rounded guy. He prefers to move forward and strike. He will closely manage distance by literally marching forward and throwing 1-2s. He feints a lot. That can get people out of sorts, but he does like to come up heavy with overhands or even work in a takedown or two. His takedowns are solid. He works them in pretty well. He calls himself the Korean Khabib, which is a little bit absurd, but takedown defense is not good. His takedown defense is actually genuinely bad. On the ground, he's got solid submission defense. He can get up, but defending the takedown, not great at it. He's coming off that busy win over Cortavius Romeus. This is a tough fight to pick. Neither guy is great. Neither guy is horrible. They're both decent, and this is very evenly matched. Chang Ho Lee is definitely the more athletic guy. I think he's got the higher ceiling of the two as far as potential is concerned, but I do think that Timmy is the tougher of the two, and he has fought the better slate of competition. Lee's wins are not good. They're pretty bad wins over bad competition, and we've been down this road before. A hype prospect who beat a bunch of nobodies, and as Jacob puts it, he beat a bunch of regional Asians. Timmy Cuamba is going to be the pick here, but until I have odds, I have no idea if there's good value in that, if it's dog shit. Maybe he's a 4-1 favorite, and I'm thinking about this a little too hard, but I'm going to pick Timmy because I think he's a little tougher, and I think he can grind. Where Chang Ho Lee is probably a little smoother, a little cleaner, but he also thinks a little too highly of himself, and I think Timmy Cuamba can just get the takedowns going because the takedown defense on the other side is not very good at all. Then we have Isaac Dulgarian taking on Yadier Del Valle. And this is going to be an interesting fight as well. The fact that Isaac Dulgarian is only a 2-1 favorite is shocking. Shocking. We've got ladies at 3-1, and Isaac Dulgarian, a Divisional I All-American wrestler who has destroyed everybody he's fought, even Christian Rodriguez in that loss, is only a 2-1 favorite. The guy's a legit prospect. He's exciting to watch. You can't even type half of his name into Google or YouTube without 100 different wrestling videos popping up. He was a solid high school wrestler, went on to be a D1 All-American, and you know how I know that? Not from research. I know that because he was on our live show ripping me for my take on him versus Christian Rodriguez, and in that Angelo giving shit moment, he told me he was a Division I All-American wrestler. And I knew he was a D1 wrestler. I didn't know he was All-American. That information is quite helpful, and it makes sense because this guy shoots takedowns instantly. He is fast as shit. He gets to your legs. People are not able to stand up on him, and the only reason he lost to Christian Rodriguez is because A, the judges blew it, and B, he beat the fuck out of him so badly that he gassed. And he gassed bad. Like he almost Jose Aldo Ayman Zahabi bad. But he did gas pretty hard. He is coming off that finish win over Brendan Marotte, where he had incredible control and great pressure on top. He's taking on Yadier Del Val. This guy's a good grappler. He's got solid striking, okay power. He will work knees in the clinch, and he will not shy away from a slug fight. His cardio's not great, but it doesn't really affect his volume. His takedowns are just okay, but his submissions are very good. He will jump Gilly, which is wildly frustrating, but he has a wide enough arsenal of attacks that he doesn't rely on a Hail Mary. He's coming off that submission win over Connor Matthews in his UFC debut. I started this by saying Isaac being a 2-1 favorite is a gift. It is a gift from the gods, and I will take that gift. You don't ever say no to a gift. And I understand he gassed against C-Rod, but I stand firm that he didn't lose that fight. He is an insane wrestler. He has incredible grappling, a great team around him. I think Eisen dominates here. I think this is a very straightforward fight. I think this takes place exactly where he wants it to. He's going to get the takedowns, control on top. Isaac is the pick, and I think you need to jump on these odds before they take off. People are going to look at this card and be like, yeah, there's the value. Or we can go ahead and 3-1 Talita Alencar. Isaac Dulgarian's the pick. 2-1 odds seem great to me. Then we have a very important lady fight. We have Ketlen Vieira taking on Norma Dumont in a fight that might dictate the next title challenger at bantamweight. Both of these women are highly ranked. Both of these women have high quality wins, and one of them is on a 5-fight win streak. We have Ketlen Vieira. She's a powerful come-forward striker with solid takedowns and top work. She marches forward, throws heavy, looks to tie up, and then will trip with Uchimatas from there. On top, she keeps control, she pressures well, and she pounds away. She's not very fast, she's not very athletic, but she is big, she is strong, and she is fundamentally sound. She is coming off that decision win over Macy Chasson, where the control is what got it done. She's taking on Norma Dump Truck Dumont. Solid striker. She is relaxed. She is patient in the cage. Her striking is technical. Her takedown defense is sound. If you look at her striking differential, she lands almost 4 significant strikes per minute and takes only 2 in return. On top of the technical striking, Norma also has solid grappling. Her takedowns are not great, but she does have 17 takedowns in 10 UFC fights. She's coming off that decision win over Irene Aldana, where she didn't wrestle, but the counter-striking was on full display. This fight feels like technique versus size. Norma can be sort of that big booty in the division and use that giant ass to stay mobile and to move and to stay quick and to leap in. And she can win fights by staying mobile. But if she's just going to plant and that giant thing is going to slow her down and keep her where her feet are, then she could have some problems, because Ketlen Vieira could just literally hold her up against the cage for 15 full minutes. Ketlen is massive. She uses that size well. I wish Norma was a little bit of a faster starter. She can end up in a feel-around round in the beginning, but she's going to be the pick. I think Norma gets it done. I think she is mobile. I think she's the better striker here. I think she's the actual better fighter, and as long as she doesn't get sucked into being held down, she should get it done. Also, the over 2.5 might be the safest bet on this card. Then we have the break. And this is the part of the video where I tell you to do a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is download the app. The app is 100% free. It costs $0. You can love us, you can hate us, you could be premium or you could be cheap. The app will still work. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store, download it, and turn on push notifications. The push notifications are for anybody and everybody. We are not that far removed from a UFC event earlier this year where 2 fights were canceled hours before that fight card started, and a push notification went out and said, hey, some shit went down. Make sure you adjust your bets, your fantasy lineups, and that you are prepared for the fact that these 2 fights are no longer happening. Download the app. It's 100% free. Inside of the app, if you are premium, you will have full access to everything. All of the tools, including the data analyzer. This is a tool that's going to stack up data for every fighter on every card now and in the future. You can then manipulate that data to find your spots, tell your stories. More and more sports books are offering strike lines and takedown lines. And you can use this data to find those lines. See what the book says, see what this says, and be like, there's a gap, and go ahead and pounce on it. We have the fight simulator. This simulates fights 100,000 times. 2 things. 1, it's not AI. It is just a wildly complicated, comprehensive calculator that is using many different data points to draw conclusions. 2, many of the conclusions it's drawing are not just the outcome of the fight, but during its 100,000 simulations, it is telling you on average how many strikes a fighter is landing, how many takedowns they're getting, what the control time looks like, how many points they'll score in various different fantasy games. And you can use all of that information to go find your spots. I mentioned 30 seconds ago that sportsbooks are now offering takedown lines and strike lines. The simulator will give you those lines. My favorite thing to do for Prize Picks and Underdogs is look at their strike lines, look at what the fight simulator says, and anytime there's a wide gap, bang, pounce on it. We also have a line movement tracker. This will give you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every fighter on every card. We have a prop hunter. This is a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. We have an optimizer. This will build DraftKings fantasy lineups for you, FanDuel fantasy lineups for you, and if you don't know what the hell it is or how to use it, we have the industry's first beginner mode. You click one button, and all of a sudden, instead of showing you numbers that you're expected to understand, it's going to ask you very simple human questions like, who is your most confident favorite? Who are your confident underdogs? Are there any fighters you absolutely detest? You answer those questions, it builds lineups for you. We also have a tape index. For those of you who like to do your own research, you want to watch the fights on your own. You don't want to hear my beautiful voice on a Sunday. You want to watch the fights yourself and draw your own conclusions. Fantastic. We've got you set up. Instead of digging through the depths of internet hell, we have all the fights lined up, ready to go. Every fighter, their full fight history, and if there is a little red play button, you click it, the video pops up. A few months from now, when the UFC is moving to Paramount, you might have a hard time finding this shit, but we will have you ready to go in the tape index. Every single freaking thing I just mentioned, plus the picks, plus the bets, plus the artificial intelligence is available for $10. $10. If all you want is the tape index and you spend 20 minutes a week finding fight video, we've got you lined up for $10. It's taken care of. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member at the top. You'll get UFC 322, UFC Qatar, and the 2 fight nights in between. UFC 322 is a vlog, and for vlogs, I open up mail. Sometimes I eat random food that was sent to me. Only in the original packaging. I'm not trying to get anthrax. But if you do want to send something for the vlogs, if you have a small business, if you have a nice letter you want to write, please do so. Send it to We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 75078. I told you earlier, this fight card is certainly not going to be in the order I'm presenting it in because the last fight I just broke down is far more important than this one. But if you're a gooner, boy, do I have a fight for you. We have Alice Ardeline taking on Montserrat Ruiz. Alice Ardeline, famous for a lot of different things, not necessarily her fighting. She is a busy striker, though. She'll mix in a bunch of different techniques. She can be sloppy. She is busy, she is a gamer, and she can have success just by being a busy gamer. She's not afraid of a dogfight. She will chase finishes. And while she does have 7 losses on her record, a few of those are quality losses like to Weili Zhang. She is coming off that OnlyFans curse-breaking win over Ryan Dos Santos, where she landed 154 significant strikes. On the other side of that cage is National Wrestling Champion Montserrat Ruiz. And she's not an American national wrestling champion, but a national wrestling champion nonetheless. She likes to come forward and shoot those takedowns. Once she gets a fight to the ground, she throws a ton of strikes. She maintains control. While she is an accomplished wrestler, she is very, very hittable. Her striking on her feet is not very good. She can be touched up. She is coming off that second round TKO loss to Eduarda Mora, where she was the one getting taken down. And I've been unsurprisingly high on Alice for a little while now. And listen, not for the reasons you may think. I don't find her, she's not my type. She doesn't look like my wife. My wife is my only type in the world. Tiffany, thank you for watching this and supporting me and our family. You are the only woman I would ever look at. But I have thought Alice was a decent fighter. I've been high on her because she's an absolute dog, and I think she has gotten screwed in a few of her decision losses. While minus 400 is a little bit obscene and kind of crazy, there are people who are going to comment about those odds, as they kind of should, but the reality is those odds are not a reflection of Alice's skill set. They're a reflection of her opponent's skill set. Montserrat Ruiz is wrestling or bust, and lately she hasn't had the wrestling, so this is kind of an easy, straightforward breakdown. Alice is a dog. Montserrat's got some quit in her. Alice will not quit no matter what. Montserrat will give up after a couple of failed takedowns. So, yeah, the woman with the quit button's probably going to lose. 4-1 is kind of ridiculous odds. You can't even bet the over 2.5 because Montserrat could quit here or she could just hang tough. I'm going to leave this fight alone because there's no value and you really can't trust the round line. Then we have Philip Rowe. Philip Rowe will take it on Suk Hyung Ko. And this is another pretty fun fight on this card. We've got Philip Rowe. This guy is a long, rangy striker. He does a good job using his length. He can find power. He can maintain distance. His ground game is actually pretty solid as well, but his wrestling needs a lot of work. And despite managing range well on his feet, he can be hittable. You can see here with a negative striking differential. He is coming off that come from behind win over Angelo, where he was down 2 full rounds. Objectively, he was going to lose that fight. And then he had that late rally and found a finish. He's taking on Suk Hyung Ko. This guy's a heavy-handed striker. He can work in his own takedowns. He is absolutely stiff as hell, but with that stiffness does come power. He's not very fast, but he is powerful. Everything he throws is heavy, and half of the time it's wild. He's got a decent sprawl, but if he is taken down, he does not have much to offer. He's a fun guy to watch. He can certainly find power in any exchange. He's got a weird stance that kind of leaves him open, but he can also be frustrating to his opponents because of that weird stance. He's coming off that decision win over Oban Elliott, where he worked in 6 takedowns. I've picked against Phil a handful of times. I picked against him in his last fight, and for 12 minutes, I looked like a genius. And then his opponent gassed, and Phil Rowe found a finish. And the reality is, Phil Rowe is talented, but he's hesitant. He doesn't have any sense of urgency. He can fall behind on the scorecards, and I think Phil is more technically sound in this fight. I think he's the better actual striker as far as technique is concerned, but I'm going to pick Ko here. I think Ko's awkward stance, his fast twitch motions can get Phil out of sorts. Ko can also work in a takedown to sort of even further frustrate Phil, so Ko is going to be the pick. These odds just dropped. I broke this down. I made my pick long before the odds, and then they dropped, and I was like, this dude's a 2-1 favorite? That's kind of fucking crazy. Philip Rowe plus 3.5 is going to be the bet. I think Ko's going to win, but this is going to be a typical Phil Rowe decision. He's going to lose a round or two because he's going to be taking his time doing nothing, and then he'll rally late. So either he rallies enough to get the win like he did in his last fight, or he rallies enough to steal the last round, and he'll go ahead and hit that plus 3.5 bet. If you don't know what a 3.5 bet is, you're betting the spread. Every judge has to score every round 10 points or fewer. It's fewer, not less. Go to school. You total those up, you add 3.5 points. The way it sort of flushes out in simple terms is if Phil Rowe wins 1 round on all 3 judges' scorecards, you're good. Your bet hits. If he wins the fight outright, it hits. A split decision loss hits. Obviously, if he gets finished, that misses. If he gets shut out 30-27, that misses. But I think Phil Rowe's durable enough, good enough to steal around. And if these odds continue to stay this wide, we will get a plus 3.5 bet. Then we have Waldo Cortes-Acosta taking on Ante Delija. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, a fun athletic striker. He is tough as nails. He's got some decent power. He lands an impressive almost 6 significant strikes per minute, and he has showed us on numerous occasions how physically tough he can be if things aren't going his way. We have seen him outstrike people. We've seen him out-grapple people. He's not a fighter by trade. He was actually a baseball player, but because he is so athletic and tough, he adopted this sport pretty quickly. He's coming off that decision loss to Sergey Pavlovich. He's taking on Ante Delija, not Dante. He's not quite a little more time in the sun, he'll be Donte. Ante Delija is a rare PFL standout, and he has broken through. He's out of that game. He is now in the UFC with a real win. He's not Patchy Mix. He didn't show up and embarrass his entire bloodline. He showed up, beat the fuck out of somebody. And now Ante Delija is here. Tom Aspinall's teammate is here. Style-wise, a pretty fun heavyweight. He bombs away. He shoots takedowns. He's pretty big at 6'5". He's got good control, good fighter overall. And if he wasn't 35 years old, he would be a pretty exciting prospect. Tom Aspinall's trading partner, as I mentioned. So he's getting good looks by other big, fast, strong heavyweights. He is coming off that knockout win over Marcin Tybura, and we saw how insanely fast his hands can be, especially at that age. I am a big Waldo Cortes-Acosta fan. I've picked him to win before. I thought he was going to beat Pavlovich. I thought, hey, he's athletic, he's fast, he's got that jab. We watched Pavlovich lose to just Volkov's jab before. That's not quite what we got. He did look better than most people thought he would, and better than most people will give him credit for. The reality is, Waldo Cortes-Acosta is athletic. He was hesitant in that fight, didn't quite pull the trigger on the striking or the grappling. And I think he kind of falls into that same trap here. Ante is fast as hell and he hits hard. He also shoots real takedowns and he's got great grappling. So I think Ante is the better fighter overall, and I'm going to pick him. I love him as a dog here, so I went ahead and threw a half a unit on him as plus 121. So I bet against one of my more, I'm not going to say favorite. Waldo's not my favorite heavyweight, but one of the guys I like more than the other guys. That was, I mean, Jesus Christ. I consider myself an effective communicator, and I can't figure out how to articulate the point that I like Waldo and I still picked Ante, so you should factor that in. Then we have Alan Nascimento taking on Cody Durden. This is a brand spanking new matchup. This has been sort of floating around on Twitter. If this is not the matchup, and Alan Nascimento is still fighting Rafael Estevam, then everybody who tweeted this should have their account deleted because you're a dork loser looking for attention, trying to break news that never happened. I do think this is actually going to happen, though, because I went to Cody Durden's Twitter, and he said, I'm the Cowboy Cerrone of the featherweight division or flyweight division. So I assume this fight's happening, and just Tapology and everybody else is far behind. So now, instead of fighting Rafael Estevam, we have Alan Nascimento taking on Cody Durden. I had Estevam picked. In the original matchup, and I was going to have him in a couple of bets. I thought he was going to get this done. I liked his wrestling. I liked his aggression. This is a very different matchup. We have Alan Nascimento, a fun striker. He likes to grapple as well. He doesn't have much to offer in the sort of offensive wrestling department, but he has no problem getting into a brawl. If he gets taken down, he's got great sweeps, good submissions. The problem is, if he can't get the sweeps or create a scramble, he will end up hanging out on the bottom the entire fight. He's got okay power in his hands, but a very low 24% takedown accuracy and an almost as low 30% takedown defense. He is coming off the decision win over Jaffa Filo, where he took over as that fight went on. He's taking on Cody Durden. The version of Cody that I'm going to break down right now and the version of Cody we've been getting in real life are not the same person. The one I'm breaking down is a pressure wrestler. He averages more than 4 takedowns per fight. He likes to come forward, throw in loop and power shots, look for some takedowns. He'll chain wrestle. He'll dive at legs until he gets it to the ground. And while his wrestling can be nonstop pressure, he doesn't have a lot of control, so people just keep popping up. He's got good pressure. He does have a suspect chin, and he just got knocked out by Jose Ochoa. That's the Cody that we have seen in the past. That's not the Cody we've been getting recently, though. The Cody we've been getting recently gasses almost immediately. The past Cody beat Charles Johnson and Jake Hadley, and he looked great. He went from a grinding wrestler with endless cardio to a chinny toe diver with mediocre cardio. And that's an unfortunate fall off because the cardio is one thing that a fighter can control. You can control how often you run and how hard you work to build up your lung capacity. You can't control your raw speed or athleticism. Those are gifts from God. You can control how hard you work. And I'm not saying Cody doesn't work hard, but I am saying a guy that went from relentless nonstop cardio to a guy that's gassing almost immediately seems like a bizarre situation. Cody's losses are solid, though, but I do think a full camp Alan Nascimento is too good. He's the better striker, the better grappler. He will have better cardio, and I think he wins this fight. I'm pretty confident in Alan here, but this is a brand new matchup, so I don't have odds yet. When I do have odds, there will be something. Something will happen here. Unless Alan's like a minus 1,000. But I imagine the opening odds are actually going to be kind of close. Let's see how close. I think they'll have Alan Nascimento at minus 300. And I know I said kind of close, and then I said 3-1 favorite, but Cody Durden is 1-4 in his last 5. And he just got knocked out. Alan's going to be the pick. Let's see what we do when the odds show up. And then we have what right now is the co-main event of the evening. I do not think this will remain the co-main event. If I had to pick the co-main event on this card, it would be the Norma Ketlen fight. Not because I'm a creep, but because I think that fight is the most impactful to their respective divisions. If Norma wins, she's on a 6-fight win streak and should get the next title shot. So that should be the co-main event. Again, this is the fight order I'm working with, and it's going to be Jeremiah Wells at 39 years old taking on Temba Garimbo, who was just knocked out. This could actually be a good fight, though. Both of these guys can move forward sling some leather. Jeremiah Wells, a well-rounded guy. He showcased the power before. He showcased the grappling numerous times. He does fight like a big, powerful striker, and then he has explosive hands, and then he'll transition to the wrestling. He is an accomplished high-level black belt, and he will shoot actual wrestling takedowns, not just butt scoot. He throws wild. He has intent behind every single strike, but the reality is it's really there to set up the BJJ. He's coming off his second loss in a row, this time to Max Griffin. He's also been out for a full year. He's taking on Themba Gorimbo. This guy is a distance striker who manages range well, and he picks his shots. He's long for this weight class. He uses that length to keep you at bay. He is typically a counter striker, but he will charge forward when he sees his openings. He's got solid takedown defense where he widens his base and he makes you carry his weight. He also has solid offensive takedowns. He's got 17 takedowns in 6 UFC fights. He's coming off that submission loss to Vicente Luque, but the only reason it was a submission loss is because he was basically knocked out and then Vicente pounced and got it done. 2 years ago, only 2 years ago, Themba Gorimbo was the talk of the town. The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, gifted him an apartment. He was racking up wins in the UFC and he was the envy of all. Then he lost to Vicente Luque and even his own family called him a fraud and celebrated his demise. It is absolutely insane how quickly the tides turn in this sport. Friends, family members, everybody will abandon you if you lose a fight you were supposed to win, and that kind of sucks. But I bring that up because I think a lesser person, lesser than Themba, not lesser than me, a lesser person would be affected by the criticism, but not Themba. This guy has overcome adversity his entire life. He pulled himself up by his bootstraps and he built something. Some criticism from jealous family members and people who lost money on bets isn't going to get to him. I think Themba shows up ready to go, put in the work, and I think he gets it done. Jeremiah Wells is old. He's not particularly great. As long as Themba doesn't get taken down a million times over, I think he's the win here. This fight might look like how he beat Nico Price. And I get that Jeremiah is a great grappler, but BJJ off your back at 39 years old is not what it needs to be to win this fight. So Themba Gorimbo's the pick. I hope he gets a win, and I hope his family member that was hating on him fucking, I don't know, falls into, what do they have where he's from? Is there quicksand? I hope they fall into quicksand. Remember when we were kids and quicksand was like a genuine concern? I don't know anybody affected by quicksand. Then we have the main event of the evening. A very good fight that matters in the featherweight division. That's how I judge fight cards. First, I say, do these fights matter? After that, I say, are they fun? And if you get 2 yeses, that's a great card. If you get 1 yes, that could be a good card too. If you get no yeses, which has happened before, especially at the Apex, then it's like these fights don't matter and they're not fun. What am I doing? Not only does this fight matter, and this fight should be fun, the majority of the card is. We got Steve Garcia taking on David Onama. Steve Garcia made a name for himself with his boxing. He has an incredible 6-fight KO streak, a 6-fight win streak, but 5 fights in a row, knocking people out. He likes to come forward. He's got big strikes that will either put you away or then set up his takedowns. His striking is solid. He's got nice movement. He's got big power. He's got decent speed. He's not afraid to mix it up, but he can get himself into some trouble by being too aggressive. He can grapple as well, but we haven't seen much of it because he's been knocking people out cold. He is very big for this weight class. He also is very awkward for this weight class, and that makes it hard for people to read. He's taking on David Onama. This guy is a kickboxer who likes to plot forward and control the pace. He's typically not the highest volume striker in the division, but he is effective. He's got a good long jab. He's constantly throwing that out there. He is busy in the clinch where he throws knees and elbows. He has a low 30% takedown accuracy, but a decent 52% takedown defense. He did, however, just get taken down 3 times in the decision win over Giga Chikadze. He's taking on pretty tough opponent here, and that's what makes this breakdown hard because David Onama is the faster, more technically sound striker in this matchup. But he doesn't fight as well moving backwards as he does moving forward. And that is something we have talked about many times before. Steve Garcia's forward pressure combined with the awkward style and his sheer size, he is surprisingly big for this weight class, I think is going to be a problem for Onama. People want to make fun of this card, but this is a good card. This main event could go a lot of different directions. David's the better striker, but Steve hits hard as fuck, and he's giant, and he's weird, and he just moves forward. Steve could also shoot a bunch of takedowns. his takedown average is pretty low right now, and that's because he hasn't needed it. This is a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. Steve Garcia is going to be the pick. I'm going to wait for round lines to see if we commit to anything here. Right now, the odds are fairly even, and I fully understand that. This is not the easiest fight to pick, but I am going with Mr. Garcia. Guys, thank you for being here. We crossed 40,000 YouTube subscribers last week. We're already at, 4,300 in a week? So I appreciate every last freaking one of you. If you show up, you watch the video, you click subscribe, maybe you click like, maybe you even shared the video or commented on it. You guys are doing more than you could ever imagine. So thank you so much. Genuinely appreciate it. If you're watching this video and you haven't clicked subscribe, which the analytics say that's 30% of you, please do. Just please. Then download the app. It's free. Search We Want Picks in the App Store. Then unlock premium membership. Premium membership is quite literally the greatest offering in this space. This space has never seen anything like what we are doing, ever. Objective fact. It just hasn't. Before we came along, there was a couple of random Patreons. Then there was a couple of DFS companies like Roto Grinders charging hundreds of dollars. Then we showed up. And we started with just some lists of picks and bets, like everybody else. And then we said, no, let's add more. We rented an optimizer. Then we built out some data sheets. Then we said, let's build our own shit. So then we coded our own tools from scratch. One of those tools is the data analyzer. This is one of the most comprehensive data-rich tools you will find, and it's easy to read, easy to follow, and easy to manipulate. You select your event, then you select your fighter, and then you can drag and drop fields and just pick whatever you want, and the chart on the bottom will automatically adjust, and you can take that information, bring it to a sports book. We have a fight simulator. There's another one on the market. We're not the only ones that have a fight simulator, but I encourage you, go check out Saber Sim. See what they charge. I'll wait. It's $300. We're 10. And we're not 10 because it's a lesser product. We're 10 because we're a couple of best friends trying to build something here. And I recognize the value in volume. I recognize the risk that comes with MMA. And I recognize that if we can all work together at $10, we're going to be far more successful than trying to beat these giant, greedy-ass companies with hundreds of millions of dollar budgets. The Fight Simulator simulates fights 100,000 times. And not only does it give you the outputs, it gives you each individual output like strikes landed in the simulations. We have the optimizer. We used to lease one. We gave it back. We coded one from scratch. And then on top of it, we added FanDuel and we added the beginner mode, which will give you logical, straightforward questions instead of expecting you to understand what you're looking at. We have the line movement tracker. This will give you the opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every fighter and every card. We have the prop hunter, curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. We have the tape index for those of you who like to do your own research and watch the tape. And then we have more than just me. We have 5 cappers, me, Jacob, Artem, Betsam, artificial intelligence, 4 humans, 1 robot. Everything I just mentioned is $10. One package. You will not sign up and then see this, you know what? You bought the base package. If you want to buy this package, it's another 5. No, it's 10 for everything. The only packages we offer are term and discount. It's $10 a month, $100 a year. That's $20 off, quick math, $300 for a lifetime. For a lifetime, forever, $300. WeWantPicks.com, click become a member at the top. Genuinely, thank you for being here. The year is starting to wind down, but good for us, the UFC's product is not. We have a spectacular UFC 322. We have a very good fight night before then. We have UFC Qatar after that, a spectacular UFC 323. The rest of this year is going to be fantastic, and I am very, very excited for Paramount because once the UFC is on Paramount and once the pay-per-views are gone and those giant events are free on CBS, there will be hundreds of thousands of more people watching fights, which means there are more people for us to interact with. There are more people for you to beat in your daily fantasy games, and there's just more people enjoying the sport that we all collectively love. Thank you for being here, and good luck this weekend.